We're joined now by the Democratic strategist, Hank Scheinkoff. Hank, welcome to the show. Right, guess it's time. Right, so the big question is, can anybody beat Donald Trump? Kamala Harris has been polling significantly behind Joe Biden even. Donald Trump very rambunctious, as you'd imagine, today, saying Harris will be easier to beat than Donald Trump. What's your take?
My take is that nobody can beat him today, but who knows what the future holds. You know, 5 minutes in politics, as you certainly know in the UK, is 5 years in anything else, and anything can happen here. It's a long time until Election Day.
And what do you think we can expect from Kamala Harris? We were a bit disappointed today. She gave a speech on the steps at the White House. We were expecting the big ticket sales device. We didn't get it, but we did have a little whiff earlier of the direction she might go in. She's painting herself, the former California Attorney General, as the good guy, taking down the bad guy, Donald Trump. The statement said, Kamala Harris stands up to fraudsters and criminals. Donald Trump is a convicted felon. It looks like the kinder politics, the unity politics, Hank, lasted approximately 1 week.
Well, even less, because yesterday or the day before, was it yesterday or before when Joe Biden said, I'm out, Donald Trump attacked him almost immediately, which set a different tenor for the campaign. Kamala Harris's problem, she's got to establish herself as someone who can be the commander-in-chief, the most powerful person in the universe. She's got to make people believe she can do the job. She's also got to put Democrats together, and they are in the United States. Like much of what has happened in the UK over the last few years, there are a bunch of clans or small groups who are fighting for some kind of power, and they're not sure what they stand for. That's problem two. Problem three, she's not believable on the migrant issue. And what Donald Trump will do is he will play her clips, what she said about migrants and immigrants, which is a big thing right now in the States and in the UK. It's a serious, serious issue. How is she going to get past this? What will happen is the Democrats will somewhat coalesce. There won't be chaos in Chicago at the convention if they can tolerate it. But the real reason they did this, because they would have lost both the Senate and they would have lost the House. They would have had no shot at taking back the House. And the shadow leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, and the leader in the Senate, the Democrat, Chuck Schumer, knew it. They acted swiftly, and they're putting coalitions together and telling their members, stand up for Kamala if you know what's good for you.
And Hank, do you think it's possible that she could do it? I mean, so far, she hasn't even been endorsed by Nancy Pelosi. She hasn't been endorsed by the Democrat kingmaker, the guy who many are saying is responsible for Joe Biden finally seeing sense and standing down. That man, of course, is Barack Obama, conspicuous by his silence.
I agree with you, and I think what they're doing here is what many politicians do, and you've certainly covered them. They're doing the dance, and it's kind of like Broadway or the West End, where the theater is opened. They're going to dance their way to a notoriety when and if they feel it's correct to keep the show going. Not a bad tactic. It keeps the excitement going. I think today Nancy Pelosi just now endorsed her, and we're going to see more Democrats stand up and say, by the way, let's be unified. And they're going to do it over the next week, would be my hunch.
Okay, superb. Thanks for joining us. Hank Scheinkoff, always a pleasure to have your company. Now, joining me now is the author and former Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate in California, a man who stood against Kamala Harris, Tom Del Beccaro. Tom, welcome to the show. So you've stood against Kamala Harris. You've got the war wounds to prove it. Do you think she'd be a competent candidate? Do you think things could get dirty? Tell us more.
Well, a couple of thoughts here. It's one thing to be considered a possible candidate. It's a whole other world to be the actual candidate with the whole world focused on you. Her interviews will go up from a couple a day to many a day. And quite honestly, she doesn't think well on her feet. She, in the debates I had with her actually in California, which is very lopsided to the Democrat, I won the after debate poll. Because she couldn't answer questions, and I do better in that format, I guess. But number one, she's going to have to deal with a lot of press. Number two, she's never really run a campaign. And what do I mean by that? She was installed as the DA of San Francisco by Willie Brown. She ran unopposed for Attorney General. And then when she ran for U.S. Senate, she ran unopposed and didn't really have to work that hard. And then she ran for president, but did she really? Because I actually was the first to predict she wouldn't even make the gate and get into Iowa at all. She never entered any primaries. So now, in a crash course way, she is going to have to run for president with the whole world on her across the United States. So she's not particularly experienced at doing this sort of thing.
And Tom, her record, she was in charge of that southern border, the most porous border in all of America's history. The true numbers, I don't suppose we'll ever know, between 8 and 11 million estimated to have come through on Joe Biden's watch. So that's one automatic failure. And Tom, she's often lambasted for her word salads, the way she gives her delivery. Is this somebody that can actually get on point and take on Donald Trump? I mean, Joe Biden, for all of his failings, at least he had the backbone, that, he had that credence, that belief. Kamala Harris in a TV debate with Donald Trump, it would be a massacre, wouldn't it?
Well, it's funny. The left of center media here are lionizing her, saying, oh, she's an ex-prosecutor, she's going to be great at this. But actually, she isn't great on her feet. She does have problems. She also is on record for saying she wants to get rid of the Senate filibuster. So these are the reasons she has a 35% approval rating, which was lower than Biden's. And so they can try and blow her up as being so amazing, take her resume and create it, into an amazing thing. That's what I mean, like blow up like on the screen and make her a star. But her actual reality of what she's done over the years is how she got to a 35% approval rating. Remember, even the Democrats in the primary didn't like her. So it's not as if she has this great track record and now she has to do it in a compressed way.
Tom, what's astonishing today, as well as painting herself as the cowboy in the white hat against the cowboy in the black hat, Donald Trump, she's also saying she's going to attack Donald Trump on his age. That's an astonishing thing to think, whereas until yesterday, she was supporting Joe Biden. Nothing to see here, no drama about his age. Is that another example of the inconsistency? And the bigger question, Tom, is, do you think the Democratic Party have been complicit in covering up for Joe Biden's deterioration?
Well, remember 4 years ago, he ran from the basement. He's been having troubles for years. And of course, they have known this. And the enabler in chief, as Trump calls her, has been hiding who she was, hiding who Biden was for a very long time. This went from the day after his inauguration. There's a famous scene of him signing executive orders where he says, what am I signing? And she says, just sign there. So what else do you need to know? But yes, it's silly for him to, unless she does it in a joking manner, saying, well, he's much older than me. But if that's their serious line of attack, then no, they're not going to get very far, because other than the very hard left base, no one buys that. They see Trump's energy. He just survived this attack, stood up with his arms. But you know what? There in America, we say they throw everything, but including the kitchen sink. They're going to have to throw everything at Trump, because nothing they have so far has worked.
Well, they've tried the law. They've tried an assassination attempt. Maybe the kitchen sink is the last weapon in the locker. Tom Del Beccaro, thanks for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Now,